folks, it's Lance from JR Jeep. I just finished up with the Jeep Jamboree 29th edition of the Northwoods run. It was an awesome couple days, really enjoyed it. Look forward to sharing my recaps of some of the trail footage with you shortly. But in doing this, I figured I should share something that is very important for overlanders, Jeepers in general, and that is airing down and airing up of our tires, because we need to do that on a regular basis. There's lots of options out there. I'm going to share the tools I use. I found them pretty beneficial and easy to work with. There's a number, like I said, of other options out there, but let me show you what I use. We'll get into it. I'll show you how I set that up and then how I reinflate and the products I'm using for that. So without further ado, let's do it. So prior to what I'm going to show you today, I used Rhino Off-Road's deflators, and I saw these listed in a couple information pieces on YouTube, and it looked intriguing and the price wasn't bad, so I thought I'd give them a try. The company that makes these is Allstop, and I will share a link in my review for you that you can look these up yourself and see if you want to grab them. So you see there's a couple pieces here. Naturally, the air chuck that you can pull up on to help release air, but this automatically takes off when we sit there and start putting on the tire. But you're going to notice there's a locking ring here. Now I'm going to put the locking ring up. So these were set yesterday for just at 15 psi. When you do that, you can then lock that in place, and that is where it's going to deflate to. I'm not going to do them that low, only because this is a demonstration. So I'm just going to set them for 25 psi and lock that in place. I'm going to do that to the remainder of them. Again, I'm turning it down to the point I want it to stop, which is in this case 25 psi, and put the lock ring in place. So we got those all locked into place. So we're going to take off, of course, our valve cover. I usually put that on top of the fender I'm on. That way I know I got to put it back on after I'm finished. If it's a windy day, you might want to reconsider that, or put in maybe the tray or the package that you have these come in, just so you don't lose them. And then we're going to screw this on. And you see, just like that, it is starting to release the air. So we're going to do that in the 4 remaining tires. Okay, while we're waiting for those to deflate, which will only be a few minutes, I actually heard them stop now for the most part. Before we get into the next step, which is reinflating tires, I want to get into a couple other things you might want to put in your deflation kit. Both of these tools or add-ons were somewhat useful over this last weekend with the Jeep Jamboree, and one that I helped a fellow Jeeper, and another for my own. So on the first day I was airing down, so happened, well, my air stems basically stuck. I tried a number of ways to release it. It wouldn't finished. So luckily enough, I have a kit with a few extra of these in it. To use those, you will need the tool, which basically has an end nut that will grab that you can rotate the old one out, put the new one in. Also has a threader in that you can redo those. Very important to have in your kit. The other thing is valve covers. Jeep next to me ended up losing one, and he was having a tough time with it, and his son was getting a little frustrated. He didn't intend to lose it, and it happens. So I just brought over one and gave it to him. They were thankful. It's no big deal, but that way that was taken care of. So what we're going to do now is take off the deflators, and next step, we're going to reinflate the tires to the proper PSI. So to remove them is easy to put on. You're just going to screw it off. So we're going to do that, and you want to put your equipment away, even though if you're busy, because otherwise you will never find it again. So we have this nice little pouch for the deflators where it'll fit in really nicely. It's marked. It does have a ring on it that you could attach to something as well. Get yourself a good tire gauge. Again, we have the other tools on here I mentioned before. Okay, so how are we going to inflate the tires again? Well, it so happens the thing I use is the Speedflate for tires at the same time inflation. The way I'm doing it is I am hitching it up to my air compressor, which is mounted under the hood of my Jeep. And then we're going to mount these on the various tires. They have quick connects. So we're just going to put those on, lock them into place. Did not see what I showed. There's a little locking tab on there. It locks them in place on the whip valve stem. Nice thing about this system with the coil cord, doesn't just hang on the ground. So to use it, what I do now is I gotta fire up the Jeep, because this is connected to my ARB air compressor, which is under the hood. I've had a previous video on that. I'll share the link in this today too. Fire it up because you don't want to run down your battery by not sitting there and having the engine running. So this will take not long because we're only down to 25 pounds, but I'll kick that in. Currently I have the gauge off, or the air off. So when I fire it up, you'll hear the air compressor kick in momentarily and then shut off. I'll open the valve and let it basically pump the tires full of air. I am opening up the valve now. Hear that kick in. Now, unfortunately, the area that my device is mounted, my bull bar sort of covers it. There is a gauge on this that actually you can see the pressure results on. It stays on for a few minutes and then it will shut off, but you can always re-click it to see where your pressure is at. Based on airing up from 15 the other day, I would say this is going to take roughly about 5 minutes. Well, as I mentioned, it took about 5 minutes to inflate the tires back up. At this point, what I'm going to do is take all the tire inflators off, put the valve stem covers back on. If you want to, it's always good to check with your air gauge just to make sure they're where they're supposed to be. In my practice, I've been found that this has worked really well. So that is our recap on actually deflating your tires, getting ready for the trails, or inflating them after the trail. So I hope you found this useful. I know a lot of people know this already, but it's always good to share out pertinent information. I think that's beginning stuff, but that everybody should know. So I will be sharing videos upcoming of my finish of the Trans-Wisconsin Adventure Trail, the northern part, and also of the Jeep Jamboree up in Mole Lake, Wisconsin shortly, amongst other things. If you found this video helpful, please give a thumbs up, consider subscribing to the channel. And we always love your comments, so please drop a line. Let me know what you thought of it, what you'd like to see in upcoming videos. I'd be glad to try to take care of those options if it's within my power. So until next time, folks, have a great day. Get out there Jeeping.